cover, and with bowed heads, let us pray. Almighty God, we ask for your blessing as we gather this evening for our city council meeting. We ask for your guiding hands to aid our council members so they may work together. Give our council members the transparency demanded by their constituency, and in return, allow the members of the community to show respect for our mayor and council members. Almighty God, we ask that you shower your blessings on all our city employees who work tirelessly to ensure that the work of the council and the mayor is completed in a professional manner. And lastly, Almighty God, we ask that you embrace those members of our community who suffer from mental and physical illness, as well as those who suffer from financial hardship. Amen. And now, with hand over heart, please face the American flag and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Chaplain O'Brien, thank you very much. You do a wonderful job every time you come.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda would be the approval of our minutes of August 17th, 2017.
Make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes of August 17th, 2017.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is the presentation by the North Hills Water District. And Chief, I think you wanted to talk about what you guys did.
I did. With our consolidation with Northfield Center and Sagamore Hills this year, we worked with North Hill Water District. They are in charge of the water lines and the fire hydrants, sort of a go-between Cleveland Water and their residents over there. They contracted out in the past to flush fire hydrants and paint fire hydrants. This year, we allowed 4 of our explorers, hired 4 of our explorers from our school system and from our Explorer program to come and flush hydrants. They are here tonight. Danny, Rory, and Connor are here tonight with us. Jacob is not here. They flushed over 3,000 fire hydrants, weed whipped, flushed, flowed, greased, and painted ones that were in bad shape over the summer. And I'd like to introduce Carol Lewis from the North Hill Water District representative, and I believe she has some words to say.
Welcome, Carol.
Thank you. I have a resolution here to thank both the City of Macedonia, the Fire Department, Chief Black, and most of all, the Explorers. It is not just a simple matter of flushing these hydrants. We know from past experience the number of water main breaks that are possible, the number of residents' complaints that you get for damages. This was a record year. There was none of that. And these young men are to be applauded, as well as all of the supervision that they got from the chief on down through all of the fire department officers. So I'd like to present this resolution. Whereas Macedonia Fire Department has operated the Explorers Program since 1996, providing for the growth and development of adolescents within the fire department through the Explorer Post 2022. Whereas in 2016, the City of Macedonia Fire Department took over services within Sagamore Hills Township and Northfield Center Township. Whereas the North Hills Water District owns, services, and operates all the public fire hydrants within Sagamore Hills Township and Northfield Center Township. Whereas the City of Macedonia Fire Department contracted with the North Hills Water District to provide service and lubrication of all hydrants within the North Hills Water District during the summer of 2017 through the Explorers Program. And now, therefore, be it resolved by Carol Lewis, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the North Hills Water District, that the City of Macedonia, the Macedonia Fire Department, its Explorers Program, and Chief Tim Black to be recognized for the exemplary service they have provided in servicing and flushing all the hydrants in the North Hills Water District without any incidents in the summer of 2017. We wish to express our sincere appreciation for all the work of the explorers Dan Streb, Jacob Allen, Connor Banks, and Rory Skolnick, Chief Timothy Black, and all the members of the Macedonia Fire District. I
Thank you very much. Carol, by the way, how long has it been since all of the hydrants have been serviced to this degree?
We contracted for the last several years to flush them. There are over 1,400 in our district. And I would like to say that by working with the explorers, we have saved more than 70% of what we used to contract, and all of the excessive costs that are a part of any damages or incidents that might arise. So we can't even tell you how grateful we are to the fire department for the supervision. The fact that they were able to service so many of them that had little minor problems to them. It's just very difficult to explain how grateful we are, and we hope to continue this service throughout the years.
Great. Well, we thank you very much. And Chief, you want to introduce your 3 explorers?
Yes, we have Danny Streb was the supervisor of the explorers, Rory Skolnick, and then we have Connor Banks right here. I believe, Danny, you're the only explorer too? Right? Not, you got a shirt on that says Explorer 2. How'd you get that? I noticed that. So we have Explorer 1, Explorer 2. They're very, very, very active. And, of course, they have jobs next year because they did such and certainly we'll give them pay raises too. They did an outstanding job this year. Worked without a lot of supervision, which was good. They utilized our trucks. They went through training on driving our pickup trucks. We got them the necessary safety gear, so they were wearing vests, working out on the street, and they were able to knock these things out phenomenal. So they even actually helped us with some hose testing too, which was really good because we have several miles of fire hose to test, and they helped us out with that. So they do that normally with their explorer duties, but these guys went above and beyond and helped us out all summer. So.
Hey, John, I think we ought to grab these guys and bring them this service.
No.
I'm willing to share, Tim.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate your great work. Thank you. Next on the agenda is, I'm going to call on the Sagamore Hills trustees. We have Dave Zaccarelli here and Dave DePasquale. I always have a problem with it. And then Paul Schreikert here. And I don't know why I have a problem with these Italian names. You think I would think I would be able to say them, what?
All right, well, it's been, you mentioned it's September 14th, and it's 1 year ago today that this consolidated district fire department took place. Mayor, you had us at a roundtable discussion in your conference room, I believe back in February of 16, to talk about the cost of government and duplication of services. And with that came this consolidated district. Out of those talks, this consolidated district, department, whatever you want to call it, that's where that was born. So I want to thank you for bringing the communities together to have these discussions. I also want to thank Janet Tully, Nick Molnar, and Kevin Bilkey for seeing this for what it was, and that it wasn't putting either community in danger, that it was actually helping, it was decreasing response times, and Sagamore Hills has a top-notch fire department now because of that. So thank you all very much. Again, Chief Black, all the officers, just phenomenal. The staff, just a delight to work with. They're very pleasant, friendly. Haven't met one yet that's been rude or discourteous. So again, you have a top-notch department, and I think all the communities involved in this have a lot to be proud of. So thank you very much.
Dave, we really appreciate your comments, but I think that there needs to be a accommodation to yourself, because I don't think a lot of people realize the time and effort that this man put into building the station, what we call Station 3. Or 2, rather, I'm sorry. He spent a tremendous amount of time renovating an existing building down in Sagamore. The building turned out absolutely, I think our guys all wanted to go there instead of staying here at our station because they did such a great job. But it really turned out well, and I believe you did that all from your heart. So,
It's not about me, it's about your sight, your vision, and everybody coming together to make this work. So that was a small part of it. I think the chief and the council and his men, the manpower, I think they have, more of a backbreaking job than what we did putting it together. But I do appreciate your comments.
Yep.
But it was a pleasure to do that. So.
And we thank you very much. And, I might as well at this point kind of broach the subject that I've been working on with Sagamore, and we've had much discussion with Northfield Center as well as Northfield Village, and that is that all 4 communities get together and we do a feasibility study on collectively how we can save tax dollars for all 4 communities. We have a common thread, that is the Nordonia schools. I think this is time. I think we have a success story going for us on the fire side.
Absolutely.
I think we need to really reach out now, and we don't need, by the way, to go to the voters for this feasibility study. We can do this between us. I've gotten prices on it. I think we're running anywhere from $25,000 to like $35,000 to do a feasibility study, which will essentially tell you the pros and cons. It's going to tell you whether or not merging police, merging other services, administrative functions, and what have you. It's really going to tell you what you need to do into the future. I think we all realize that we can't stand alone as a community, one community. We are and have been one community, even though we have different names.
Sure.
And so I would appreciate if you guys will certainly take a look at that. I will get you the feasibility study dollars that have come in. I think we got 3 quotes on it. And I'll be reaching out. I was hoping that Northfield Center would be here. Rich said he was going to be here this evening, so that we could discuss that with Northfield Center. And obviously Jesse knows about this as well, Nihas from Northfield Village. So I'm hoping that everybody can come together, at least on this issue. This is not to say that this is in fact going to happen. This is just merely a tool to say, what kind of savings will there be if all of these communities come together? I can tell you this from my standpoint, and having been down at the county level, that we would certainly be more recognized. We'd probably wind up being the 3rd largest community in Summit County. In addition to that, we would also be eligible for more Issue 2 funds, CDBG, and all of the other funding that's available to a community of our size. And we would then certainly take control, obviously, of roads and streets where you guys are not able to by what the county is doing and what the state is doing, and we'd have a little bit more clout in that area as well. So, and I know that we've had other discussions about other things, and I think that those are obviously something that we can kind of move all of our communities together collectively in the betterment for the residents. So I thank all of you for your participation. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Carol. Annette, I want to introduce our newest addition to the city's administration, and that's Annette Smith, our HR manager. Annette is here. She obviously wasn't here at our last meeting. And Annette, you want to say a little bit about yourself and just, kind of. I know Annette
It's
will.
15 minutes.
Yeah, it's
Annette.
not 15. it's-
15 minutes.
No, I'm good. I am Annette Smith. I came from Stark County. I spent a little over 13 years in the public sector working for a housing authority. And my desire is to stay in the public sector, so I came to Macedonia. My experience is in benefits and, benefits, payroll, risk management, and hiring, and all of the HR background in about 25 years.
Great.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annette, for coming to the meeting this evening. Okay, we're going to get then to the next point of our meeting, and that is public comments. And I have like 4 or 5 people that have signed up, and the first is Vinnie Ventura. Vinnie.
Good evening, I'm Vinnie Ventura. I live at 1479 Bruce Road. Been in the city for 30 years. I also have been in public service for over 40 years, basically in law enforcement. And in the last 22 years, I have served in a team called the Critical Incident Stress Management Team. Okay, I was assigned and spent a week with the New York City Police Department for 9/11. It was a very trying week for me. It was something I will never forget. We worked with police and fire. Our whole team went down there and worked with them for that whole week. And it's kind of a crisis management situation where you let them get the feel of some relief. And with the mayor and the council's permission, if you would let me, I would ask that everybody stand for a moment of silence in remembrance of 9/11.
Very good.
Thank you. May you keep them in your prayers.
Thank you, Vinnie. Don Davis. Hi, Don.
Hello, I'm not a public speaker, so I'll keep this brief and short. I'm the gentleman who's doing the Wizard of Oz Festival next week, and I can tell you right now it is happening. Unfortunately, before this meeting, I got, just at about 2 o'clock today, I got a little nastygram from the city's legal department, apparently, just asking that they needed certain things, which, you know, it was reasonable. I just would have liked to have told, you know, maybe a week ago, because I had met Angela last Wednesday with the gentleman from the Manor House and everything, and could have easily just told me, you know, we need to get these things by this date, okay? Instead, I find out Tuesday when I was there meeting with the electrician that we need to get these in by Friday, okay? Now, I will admit, I do have another job besides this, and I also have my own business where I just came back from being in North Carolina, out of town, and so, you know, I was rushed into getting everything done, but here is attached with the letter from this gentleman, actually, everything that was required. So I have copies for all of you, okay? And just so that you're aware, okay, because there's a very big, large lack of communication, I can tell, between the rec center and you all, okay? All I am trying to do is have a little cultural event. It's nothing major. All you needed to do was shoot me an email and say, hey, Don, where are we at with this? I mean, you know who I am. You know my father. You've called my father before and said, hey, Dan, because just put it this way, my father is one of them that's big with the Veterans Memorial, okay, Dan Davis, okay? You could have reached out to me, okay? And this is not me, okay? I'm the person behind the scenes, okay? I'm really shocked at what, you know, to get that information. And I'll admit, things are behind, yes, because I had 6 months to put this all together. Unfortunately, the person that was going to work with me on this, she passed away, okay, during the whole thing. Plus, I had another funeral. My grandmother had passed away. So, you know, I had personal things that had come up, but I still pursued and had this done, okay? And I'm still having this festival next week, okay? I mean, I have spent personally thousands of dollars. I know it's not a lot to you because you only spend other people's tax money, okay? This is my personal money out of my own savings that I am paying for a lot of the events because we didn't get a whole lot of sponsors. I mean, we did get Costco. We actually, a person that works with Walmart is doing a sponsorship with us. So, you know, a lot of things are very last minute, okay? And things are still being, you know, worked out to the last minute. I am staying up nights, you know, very late, getting things done. But this festival is a go, and I just felt, you know, being threatened to say that we're going to shut you down was very, inappropriate when all you had to do was months ago. I met with you, not by Angela's wanting, because Angela never wanted me to meet you. I reached out to you. Yes, it is very true. I reached out to you and said, I sent you an email and said, I don't think Angela at the rec center, or maybe, again, it could be a lack of communication, but I sent you an email and said what our plans were and that I would like to sit down with you. I am not here to make any trouble. That's what is amazing to me. And then I get I get a letter from a lawyer, and that's what you could have just sent me an email and said, hey, Don, we need this stuff.
Don, and I understand that you're upset right now, so let me kind of stop you right there if I can.
Yes.
And believe me, it's in the cities, we want to see a successful event. It's not anything about that. So just let me say that the Parks and Recs Commission had a meeting, I think it was last Wednesday, and they came back with this recommendation if those things aren't in place, they are recommending that it not go forward. Me as the mayor and the safety director looks at it from the standpoint, do we have security in place? Do we have parking in place? Those are the most concerning things to me as the mayor. I don't care how many vendors you have. I don't care if you have electricity. I don't care if you have water. But my major concern is that are we going to have a safe environment for people coming in and out of the park, and are they going to be able to, park? Are they going to have restrooms, if you will? Are they going to have ability to have police and fire for security there as needed? Those things had not been arranged, as I understand, up until yesterday.
And they were already arranged before that.
Well, you see,
lack of communication.
I did not get that from our fire department and or police department as of yesterday.
Okay.
So when I did not get that, I said we need to make sure that these things are done. I don't want to necessarily cancel this event, but because I'm getting pressure from everyone else, and it falls back on the city. So if, for instance, if this event went forward and something befalls this event, who do you think they're going to come to? They're not going to come to
no, they're going to come to me.
Well, no, they're going to come
maybe
to me.
People of the city would, but honestly, people that I know that are coming from this event, that are traveling from California, from New York, from Virginia, they're reaching out to me. They're calling me. I'm the one that has the thousands of phone calls on here. Okay, they're going to reach out to me and say, what is happening? We have spent all this money and everything. Put it this way, I have done right in there, and I don't mean to draw this out. Everything is in there that you required, okay? I got the insurance, okay? Done, paid. I sent the certificate, and it has what was required, okay? I got all the other information. Now, if it's not exactly how you're used to getting it, well, then that's a lack of communication again, because remember, I am new to any type of event planning, and that was strictly told when I originally brought this idea up to Angela, okay? That was told, and I was told by you to always to keep communication with Angela. And I know now, to be honest, that was the wrong thing to do. Because this person, and if you talk to any of those other city people out there, does not communicate very well with them. Because when I met with the electrician and with other city employees, they acted like they knew nothing about this and that they were asking Angela all these times. Okay, I went to meetings with your things. You could have called me and said, hey, Don, can you come to this meeting? I only had one call, and they thought I was going to bring some big presentation. I mean, you brought your daughters to the meeting. Everybody all of a sudden just left because they had to go to soccer games and everything. It wasn't like it was anything. This is not a city
event, though, Mr. Davis. This is your event. The
Absolutely.
City's possibly allowing you to have on city property. The reason you got the letter from me is it was not a nastygram. It was because the liability ultimately falls upon the city. So there's minimum basic safety requirements that we're requesting of you to have. And if you can't do it, we can't guarantee the safety of the residents or the festival goers. That's all the letter is, and that's all the city's asking for.
Right, which I have done. But again, timeliness. Okay, the event is next week.
It's a week before the event.
Right, you should have sent me this letter a month ago or 2 months ago and said, hey, We need to have this information.
These
That's
aren't-
all you
these-
could have
these
told
aren't
me.
the
Are you
type
saying
of-
that you did not know?
No.
that You're supposed to have security?
I
trash
knew I
pickup,
had to have
parking?
security. I
So
knew I
what-
had to
what
have
in-
all
what
of
in
that,
letter-
but I was never told
Hold on, can you
that this
answer my
had to be,
question?
that had to
Can
be
you
all
answer my
given to the
question?
city by a specific, let me
You're
finish.
throwing a lot of accusations around. All we're asking is, do you have parking for this event?
Yes.
Okay, do you, where at?
We have we have the parking at the rec
No,
center.
you don't.
And then we
Who
also.
told you you could park at the rec center?
Angela,
On the paved parking on the rec center?
no, not the rec center, not the front part, but in the park
Do you know there's
area
also
behind
events?
the baseball
Do you know there's
fields.
events going
Yes, I
on?
do, but those should have been,
Okay.
I just found that
Well, I'm
out
just
this
saying,
week.
Do you have security?
Could we just
Yes.
have
Okay.
a
Yes, I have spoken with
Through
Vince
Macedonia?
Danko.
Who did you have?
Vince
security?
Danko,
what-
I have spoken to.
Kevin, let him speak. This is
Well,
obviously.
I mean.
I am a
understand.
citizen. I mean, come on, I pay your salary.
Mr.
So
Davis,
listen to me, please.
Mr. Davis, what we'll do, we'll take a look at what you've provided, and then we'll obviously be in
I mean,
touch.
please go through that information, because I could see why a lot of people are upset with how money is spent and everything else, and the lack of communication. And I don't appreciate you smiling through the whole thing. I mean, you two were chit-chatting over there while you were up here having the prayer and everything. I mean, it's so rude. I watch these meetings from home all the time. So believe me, I know what goes on here, and it's just ridiculous.
Listen,
Again,
Don,
I am not a public speaker.
Don.
I don't mean to, I didn't mean to make this
I
into
don't want to
this.
interrupt you. I was going to try to confine everybody's comments to about 5 minutes, but let me just say this to you. If you have worked out all of these arrangements.
Yes.
Then obviously you will be able to move forward. The point is that, and I'll just reiterate them to you again, as the mayor and safety director, that I have to feel comfortable that the facility is going to have security, both police and fire.
Yes.
And that we have a parking arrangement. And everything else then falls on your back as to how you pull this all together, okay? If you meet those basics, then I will see no reason not to let you go forward.
Yes,
As-
everything
as-
is in there.
So
Backup
and-
parking
and
at some of
nobody-
the
and
churches
nobo-
I've
and
spoken
nobody,
to.
at least myself, was not trying to see this thing fail. I wanted to see this thing work out because I thought, first of all, when it was brought to my attention, this whole thing, I thought, I don't know about this Oz Festival. I don't know much about it at all. But if it works and everybody was recommending it, then let's try it. Maybe it's going to be something good for the community. So that's why I said, when after you and I met, which was back in June, and we kind of laid out how much this thing was going to cost. I
Right.
went back to my notes and
Right, and
I
guess who-
seen there was $15,000 in security and $59,000 in other costs and everything else. So it was a pretty extensive
Right,
proposition.
which we have scaled back.
Okay.
I mean, I will admit, we've had to scale back because I found out from, most companies, they do their sponsorships at the beginning of January, okay? I came in late, okay? So I couldn't get the large sponsorships that I wanted to. But again, when it comes down to it, I am trying to, this is not going to be, I think you're thinking you're going to have 50,000 people here. No, you're going to have maybe 5,000, 10,000 people here for the weekend. It's a cultural event. Yeah, there's no rides, there's no inflatables, none of that kind of stuff. I just get the feeling that it's just something that doesn't fit into a suburb like this. I didn't think so. I got the impression originally that this was going to be something welcomed, and now I'm getting the impression that it's not welcomed.
It is
And
welcome.
believe me,
it is, listen to me, it's very welcome, and it's not that it's not welcomed. It's just that we need to make sure that here we are, today is a week out before this event. And I'm being told that there are a number of issues that have not been resolved. And so that gave rise to why we are at, the Parks and Recs Commission came to me and said, hey, we don't see these things are being done. What are we going to do about it? You're going to let this thing go forward? And then the burden obviously falls back on the mayor because the administrator has to make that call, safety director, if you will.
Right, no, and I understand, I completely understand. But again, I have been completely open with Angela, and she knew my schedule. She knew I was going out of town and everything. But you have to remember, again, lack of communication. I sent out emails back in June asking for questions in regards to security and everything. I did not hear back until August When I finally when I sent that email and I put on it second request, and then I CC'd you, members of council that I have the email addresses for, then a half hour later, I get an email from Angela saying, we need to meet and everything. That is a big lack of communication.
Okay, we'll take a look at what you've provided us.
So please, look at that. The event is still going on. I mean, and just to let everybody know, any of the candidates, because Rita Darrow will be there, are also welcome to have booths at the festival and pass out their information, because I definitely want to meet them, because I want to see who's actually in office and who's going to work for the actual people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize for going over my time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next is, let's see, Sagamore Hills already made their comments, Carol Lewis already made her comments, and Roy.
Hey. Yeah, I haven't been up here lately. Roy Metzel, Smoke Rise Drive. I've been out of commission slightly. I had a big garage sale which knocked me out of commission for 2 weeks. It was a little bit too much, but and I'm having some eye problems and this and that. And of course, some of the meetings were canceled for the summer, and I said, I'm going to go to the meeting. Oh, no, there is no meeting. So that was all it. And I want to say aloha.
Are you headed to Florida or what? Or to Hawaii?
What? Yeah, Hawaii. Well, my wife wants to go to Hawaii. I said, here it is.
That's as far as we're getting?
No, I just wanted to say about the roads. Like one night I had to go up to the Commons, and it's like, what happened here? There's a beautiful road. There's lines. Wow. I said, I must have went to the wrong city. No. And it's wonderful. I love it. And I see a couple more streets going in there, some on Summer and a couple other ones, and I'm glad to see that we're moving forward and we're doing something with these streets. There's still a lot of bad streets because I travel on them, I know, but I'm glad we're on some path to take care of all this stuff, because this is what we should have been doing for years, so.
Yeah, we were behind a little bit in our, we probably should have had this tax passed probably about 2 or 3 years ago, which would have really put us on top of the game.
Yeah. So basically, that's it, and what I want to say is 22 tonight for the Cleveland Indians.
All right,
They broke the record for the American League, and now I think they're going to go for the whole thing. They're playing about 4 or 5 more games. They got a shot at it. I can't believe it. I watch it.
Thank you, Roy. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go then through the agenda. The first item on the agenda is Ordinance 67.
I'm going to change my glasses here. So, Mr. Mayor, Council, I move to offer ordinance number 67, 2017 for its third reading by title only.
In ordinance amending section 116703 of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia regarding the height of buildings located in B2 community shopping districts.
You've heard the reading?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 67, 2017 to the same according to law.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any comments? Hearing none, all those I'm sorry?
Yes, I do have comments on this.
Do you mind making them, you want to do a roll call?
Well, I think she has an opportunity to speak before the roll call.
Yeah, we'll let her speak and then we can do
She
it.
has an opportunity to speak.
I'd like to make some comments about the zoning changes that are proposed in several ordinances tonight. We've had these on the agenda in special meetings. We've had them available to the public in a certain sense, but there's really been no discussion in council. And one of the reasons for that is we've had no planning documents from the administration presenting the impacts or an economic analysis. There's really been very little discussion. We did have the gentleman that we just unanimously put on the BZA provide detailed comments on the 31st of July, which was a special meeting. We were not able to hear from him during that meeting because it was a special meeting. And I'd just like to read into the record some of the important comments he made. Number one, he said the ordinances that we have before us, and he is an architect and an expert in this area, have criteria that is extremely vague and removes specific BZA criteria for variances. Currently, the BZA can in fact allow for higher buildings, but there are certain criteria that have to be met. There has to be essential reasons for it. And let me just say what he has suggested as an alternative and recommendations. And again, here's his recommendations: that any allowance for additional height or story be accomplished via an overlay district, which is a special kind of overlay that permits you to take a certain portion of a district and permit higher buildings based on criteria for need. This would allow a change for property that comes under the city control in the future. This would assure that existing business zone areas remain as is, and the option for additional heights and stories would still be allowed in the future, but under specific criteria. The proposed ordinance should be revised to allow the additional height only if the same 6 criteria required by the BZA are considered, and that an ordinance be introduced and passed that would require a majority of vote of council on any project approved by the Planning Commission in this area. And so I think Mr. Repak's comments are extremely important, because what they say is that we can allow for growth in the future, but we do not have to give a blank check to the Planning Commission or any other entity in this city. I am not, Mr. Repak has quite a few discussions here about the Planning Commission as he's observed it. But let me just say this is not a specific complaint about the Planning Commission, because the Planning Commission does have a role, but they are not elected. They are appointed by the mayor. And I think what we need to do is to go back to the basics here. In my opinion, we are not fulfilling our role as council, as elected representing the residents, to rubber stamp these kind of proposals that have vague language and do not have specific planning criteria with them. So I'm going to vote no, but I wanted to make sure I put that in the record. Thank you.
Okay. Could all those in favor indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
No.
Can I make one comment? Yeah. The Planning Commission is not a rubber stamp. Never has been a rubber stamp. They're intelligent folks who look at the issue. They are not, and they may be appointed by the mayor, but they are approved by council.
And I might add that we have 3 engineers, 1 attorney, and 1 ex-fireman zoning inspector that serve on the Planning Commission. Probably one of the best boards we've ever put together. And this issue has nothing to do with adding 10 foot of height to our existing zoning. Back in the day, which dates back to before I was even a councilman, back in the 70s, what we did is we revamped all of the zoning laws of our city, and we actually created the Bs, 2s, and 3s, and 4s, and the BO. Well, actually, the BO came a lot later. And at that time, we obviously did not have the technology that we have today with regards to fire extinguishing systems, suppression systems in buildings as required under the basic building codes today. We didn't have an aerial truck, by the way, back then, which was a 110-foot reach that can get up and over any building. So, you know, asking for 10 more feet, we are currently at 35, and we are essentially going to 45 feet. And to me, that's no big deal. And I think the discretion of the Planning Commission, as they review each and every building that comes in, is to review it on the basis of where is it going to be located. Is it going to be located up and against 271, for instance, where Is it going to interfere with any other building or property? And is it going to look out of place? Is it going to have some symmetrics with what is surrounding it? And really, that's what this is all about. If you got a good planning commission and they view it reasonably and logically, as I'm sure that they are going to. We have a past council member that's sitting on there who's an engineer. We've got actually Joe Schiavone, who was a guy who was my building official in Summit County when I went down there as the director. I brought him down there. So we've got some very intelligent people sitting there that just aren't going to, wash out the city of Macedonia because of a height restriction or a height 10 foot. I mean, come on, give me a break. Anyhow.
Mayor, just for some clarity, Ms. Hennigan, you were the only nay?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're a nay too, Dave?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's have a roll call.
Mr. Bilkey?
I'm voting yes because I think this is how progress, this is, it's 10 feet and, sometimes you have to add 10 feet to gain a lot. So, yes.
Mr. Engel?
No.
Ms. Hannigan?
No, and let me point out that there's a number of ordinances here, and several are not 10 feet. They're more than that. So, anyway.
Mr. Boulder?
I'm somewhat flummoxed with the statement Mrs. Hannigan made because there was plenty of ample time that could have been asked for us to talk about it. We're all, as I alluded to in our work session, we're all intelligent people that read through the document, and I was never asked to have time to discuss that. If that's ever something that's wanted, all you have to do is ask. Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Okay, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 68, 2017.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 68, 2017, for its third reading by title only, please.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second to the motion?
Second.
Don't need it.
Okay, we didn't
That's
need it.
all right. That's all right. Better more than not enough. An ordinance amending section 116704 of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia regarding the height of buildings located in the B3 general business districts.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 68, 2017, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments other than those that were already made in the previous ordinance, which goes to the same issue? Hearing none, could we have a roll call?
Mr. Bilkey?
For the same reasons, yes.
Mr. Engel?
No.
Ms. Hannigan?
No.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Okay, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 69.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 69, 2017, for its third reading by title only.
An ordinance amending section 116705 of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia regarding the height of buildings located in B4 highway districts.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 69, 2017, according to law.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bilkey?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
No.
Ms. Hannigan?
No.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Okay, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 70, 2017.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 70, 2017, for its third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending section 116706 of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia regarding the height of buildings located in VO business districts.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 70, 2017, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Again, are there any questions? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bilkey?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
No.
Ms. Hannigan?
No.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Okay, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 74, 2017.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 74, 2017 for second and third reading by title only.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion's carried.
An ordinance amending section 116513 of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia regarding waste collection practices.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend Ordinance 74, 2017 by adding Exhibit A that was handed out in tonight's work session, which deals with the penalties.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to add the Exhibit A to the, to the ordinance. Are there,
And I know with that, the ordinance will be amended in the title, the first whereas, second whereas, and section 1.
okay, and so all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
To include the penalty.
Yeah, to include the penalty, I'm sorry.
All those in,
Aye.
Aye.
opposed, the motion's carried. We have a motion to adopt.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law Ordinance 74, 2017 as amended tonight.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to second. Again, are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by
I have a
saying
question.
aye. I'm sorry, just go ahead.
Sorry, bear with me here. So if someone doesn't, this is the trash can,
Correct.
so if someone doesn't bring their trash can in, and it's habitual, and obviously I know there will be discretion with that, but it's a minor misdemeanor, would I be off by just saying maybe it should just be a fine as opposed to a minor misdemeanor?
Well, it has to fall into the category.
That's,
That
yeah,
is
it's
a
a
fine.
max $150 fine.
But doesn't that stick on your record,
jail
like you
time.
didn't bring
It's
your
not a
trash can
criminal-
in, so you got a minor
It's
misdemeanor?
not a criminal offense.
No?
It's like a parking ticket.
Yeah.
Right, parking ticket's a minor
Is-
misdemeanor.
I always bring my cans in. But there's sometimes I'm not home, so that's what I worry about.
You know, and again, I'll just reiterate that last week
That's
we
a good
talked about,
question. I wanna
or
make
the
sure.
last council meeting, we have 95-gallon trash containers that Republic has provided to just about every home in the city. I think if you want a smaller container, you can ask for a 65. I think a lot of the problems that we're seeing out there is that people take their garbage cans, they bring them to their front of their garage, they leave them in front of their garage, and as you go through the neighborhoods, you see garbage cans all over the place because now they have provided them. What we're really looking for under this ordinance is that they will put them either behind the setback of the home and keep them camouflaged, so again, that they're not so visible and they're not left out by the street and or in other areas. So that's what this is really all about. So with that,
So just to clarify one thing, since Mr. Mueller asked this question, if someone is inadvertently or deliberately has violated this ordinance, they will get a kind of a summons or something handed to them from the police, and then they have to come to mayor's court and...
Just like the normal penalty
Right.
section would be treated.
Right, and it'd be like a parking ticket, is that correct or not?
Yeah, or like a minor misdemeanor marijuana charge. It's not a criminal offense. A lot of people would be surprised about. But you could,
That might
if you
be a
wanted,
little
to
extreme,
Mr.
but-
Molnar's point, you could just make it a fine amount instead of having the misdemeanor
Maybe we should do
language,
that,
if you would
honestly.
like to.
I won't vote for this, so I would make the offer to make this a fine. Well, maybe we should just come back to this. Should we hold it? And
if you want,
reevaluate?
if we have a motion on the table, if you want to take and ask that it be tabled
You could
until
amend it.
more discussion's had,
Well, who
could amend
who
that.
provided the motion here?
Well, you could
Yeah,
amend
you
it.
could amend it right now.
you can amend it. You want
To
to take out the
remove it as a
misdemeanor
minor
part of it?
misdemeanor.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
take
make-
out the minor misdemeanor and a fine, and then we need to define what the fine would be.
Or you can make the fine no greater than a $100 fine if you want.
Okay, no greater than $100. I'll make the motion to take out the minor misdemeanor, guilty of a minor misdemeanor, and add in a fine of no more than $100.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to amend and taking the minor misdemeanor away and making the fine no more than a $100 fine. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Are there any questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried. Now we have a motion to adopt.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law Ordinance 74, 2017, or it should be amended Ordinance 74, 2017, as amended.
Okay. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to amend, and are there any questions?
I think we've had all of
No, we're
those.
passing now.
No, I know, I'm just asking if there's any questions. They're hearing no questions. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Well, I always ask if you have any
So
questions.
bring your
No,
trash
that's
cans in,
fine.
whether you're going to
Moving
jail.
on.
Okay, moving on to ordinance number 78, 2017.
Jan, that's you.
Are we to, I have quite a few here. It's not that I'm the star, it's just that these are all financial ones. As the chair of the finance committee, that's why I have them. I'd like to offer ordinance number 78, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
An
Motion's carried.
ordinance amending ordinance number 19, 2017 relative to the annual appropriations for additional expenditures of the city of Macedonia for the period January 1, 2017 to December 31st, 2017.
Okay, you've heard the reading?
Mr. Mayor, I offer that we pass and post according to law, ordinance 78, 2017.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 79.
Okay, before we go forward, 78 is really just putting the money into the funds that we've already approved when we had the Finance Committee. So this is all accountable. And now the next ones are basically approving, formal approval to go forward with the capital, different capital expenditures that we as council have already said we would do. So I'd like to offer ordinance number 79, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Fifth Third Bank to finance the purchase of a Gradall machine.
Okay, you've heard the reading?
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask we pass and post according to law, ordinance 79, 2017, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 80.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 80, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Fifth Third Bank to finance the purchase of police cruisers.
Okay, you've heard the reading?
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask we pass and post according to law, ordinance number 80, 2017, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 81.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we offer ordinance number 81, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Fifth Third Bank to finance the purchase of various vehicles.
You've heard the reading?
Before I go on, you're going to see the smiles on both Chief Black and Mr. Natovich's face, because these are things that we've talked about that are very well needed. I'd ask that we pass and post according to law, ordinance number 81, 2017.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 82.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'd like to move, I move to offer ordinance number 82, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Sorry, aye.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperation agreement regarding Phase 2 of the intersection improvement project with the Village of Glen Willow, Village of Oakwood, and the City of Twinsburg relative to the intersection at Richmond, Broadway, Ravenna, Shepherd Roads.
You've heard the reading?
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 82, 2017 to the same according to law.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 83.
Offer ordinance 83, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
An ordinance amending Chapter 794 of the codified ordinances of the City of Macedonia by adding new section 79406 regarding hotel and motel security measures.
Okay, have you heard the reading?
Move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 83, 2017.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I just want to give a real brief explanation before this is passed, and just so that everybody's aware that we have obviously had some hotels in our town that have given us a real concern, and we are providing, very similar to what we did in the big box users with the Walmarts, the Home Depots, and others that have had, either thefts or things that have occurred in there. This is very similar in nature by the fact that if you have, I guess, 5 incidents within a 90-day period, we, the city, can require through to have the property owner or building owner in this case to provide police on a 24-hour basis, 7 days a week.
It's basically a period from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. for a 90-day period following the 5th incident. And the incidents include things like prostitution-related offenses, arrests, and drug arrests.
So what it is really basically doing is it's putting a burden on those types of places that we feel that are not keeping themselves up to snuff with what should be going on in our city. And this will help us curtail those types of activities in those locations. So this ordinance is thrusted towards that, and hopefully it'll have a great effect. At their cost, yes, not our cost. Correct. Okay. Hearing that, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance, what would that be, 84?
Mr. Mayor, I'd offer ordinance 84, 2017 for first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance amending Chapter 1301 of the codified ordinances of the City of Macedonia by adding new section 130109 regarding certain construction and maintenance restrictions.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 84, 2017.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 85.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution number 85, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
A resolution in support of the mayor entering into the 2017-28 version of the Intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding for Job Creation and Retention and Tax Revenue Sharing with Summit County and other participating municipalities.
You've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post resolution number 85, 2017 according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 86, 2017.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to suspend the 48-hour rule for ordinance 86, 2017.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to suspend the rule, 48-hour rule. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next, we have a motion to adopt.
Motion to
Or
offer.
motion to offer, I'm sorry.
Offer ordinance 86, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An emergency ordinance authorizing directing the mayor to enter into a contract with Grade Line, Inc. to install a culvert designated in the Sioux Lane Culvert Replacement Project.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 86, 2017.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Just by way of information, this is the Sioux Culvert, the bridge that we need to, and the culverts underneath the bridge that we need to rebuild. And the price came in at about $265,000. This was obviously done with re-engineering of the project, and this is obviously being paid for through NERSD by 100%. And we are handling the project locally here, and will be reimbursed for same, so that everybody's aware of that. Okay, next item on the agenda, any other motions and legislative actions?
Mr. Mayor, I'm making a motion to authorizing the mayor to accept on behalf of the City of Macedonia a donation from Cedarwood Development Incorporated of 2 granite horse statues with an estimated value of $60,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. And we have also received a letter, by the way, from the schools accepting the contribution. The city's accepting the contribution of these 2 granite horses, which I have to say that Mr. Monar was the one who kind of pushed me to reach out to the schools and give them to the schools, which I thought was an absolutely perfect idea. They are obviously now standing in front of the both entryways to the stadium, and they really look cool. And they actually had some knights standing next to them, which was at the last game. I thought that was pretty neat. They got them from Kent State. So we're excited that obviously Cedarwood gave them to the city. We have now put them in a permanent home at the schools, and I think it was the right place to go, and I think everybody's just been chattering about it. They really look nice over there. So again, I want to just thank Cedarwood and all those that were involved in giving them to the city. Okay, next item is, were there any other motions? None, okay. Correspondences, Josephine?
Just, you had already mentioned this, Mayor, but we did receive a letter from Superintendent Joe Clark regarding the acceptance of the horses by the Board of Education, and also reiterating the value of $60,000.
Okay, great.
And very appreciative of such a generous contribution.
Great.
And I have one more, sir. Dear Mayor, Police, and paramedics, just wanted to say thank you for you all for what you did for my dad, Mike Kronject. He would have been so proud knowing you all were there for his services. It's really hard to read her writing. And at the, must have been Rittman Cemetery this Friday. He will be surely missed, and he loved taking care of my mom. Thank you very sincerely, the family of Mike Kronject, and this is from Nancy Thompson, his daughter.
Great. Thank you. Mayor's reports. I'm going to try to get through this very quickly. As you know, that we've just reappropriated some dollars for the moving forward of getting the restrooms at the rec facilities, the locker rooms, I should really call, not restrooms, but locker room facilities updated. So we're going to be moving forward with that. We're going to be adding an addition onto the back of the building, obviously be coming back to council as we continue to reappropriate for that. I think you got to take advantage of the fact that I'm here and I can help with the general construction of that project as opposed to going out to a general contractor. So we'll save a lot of money through me putting my time and effort in it. The other thing is that the Veterans Memorial, which is, and I need to really stress how proud I am of our service department and how hard they worked. And specifically, I mean, John Nottavenge was out there throwing on his work clothes and helping out, but Ron Furham really took ownership. Here's a guy that really, when you go over there and you see the facility as it's all done, you'll see the brick walls and all of the things that were done and the landscaping that was completed today and ready for Saturday at 1 o'clock, which is going to be exciting to have the grand opening of that facility. There's obviously a lot more work to go, but I have to say the veterans that were involved in this, and Dan Pozar, Dan Davis, and Dave Parrish, those three guys worked their butts off. They laid pavers. They were there every day working from morning till night to get all those pavers in place. And again, the service department workers were there alongside of them to make this all happen. We did it in a relatively short period. We wanted to really show that this thing was going to happen. And this is the first phase of it. The monuments are up for both the veterans, the Vietnam memorial on one side, and on the left side, War on Terror. The War on Terror, and that's on the other side. So two of them, the monuments up, but there's a lot more that's going to come in place as we continue to develop the site. But we had some very good workers that did a lot of things. I mean, Mike DeBrouse laid the concrete and orchestrated that. So we've got some real talent in our service department that were able to bring this forth. And something else that I had not made an announcement about, I'm making the announcement now, is that about 3 weeks ago I had lunch with Brock Milstein and Brock, which is from the Hard Rock Cafe, by the way. and he had said, what can I do for your community, and what areas do you think that would benefit the best? And I said, well, Brock, if you wanted to do something for the Veterans Memorial, I'd be very excited to have you do something in that area. So he's contributed $10,000, and I'm going to use that money to get the restrooms at the Memorial Park resurrected. So that's the next thing that we're going to be doing. At least we'll have the money for the materials and the roof, and we'll get that all started. Even if we, then I'll be talking to the veterans on how we can raise some more dollars. But I also have some thought about NOPEC's going to be coming out with some additional grants coming after the first of the year, which I'm excited about as well, because, again, people of our community need to know that by supporting NOPEC, which is, by the way, the company that provides you your electric and gas and has made savings beyond savings to you as residents, that we need to continue to support that, and the more membership that we continue to have, the more money we get in grant funds. And I'm not suggesting that just because of us, the city, getting grant funds, but truly, NOPEC has been your advocate and has truly kept the prices of utilities down in the state of Ohio. And there's nobody that stands between the utility company and you, the resident, but NOPEC. And we've done a great job, by the way. And Jan is our representative on the public board, and I'm the chairman of the NOPEC Inc. side of the organization. So it was created in 2000, and when it first started off, it really virtually had no money in it. Now it's an organization that has a lot of power to it, has probably close to almost $50 million in its coffers, and we're doing all the things that, as an advocacy group, and it's a council of governments, if you will, that are working on your behalf as residents. So you just need to know that. And again, there's going to be a ceremony on Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Veterans Memorial. I invite everybody to come to that. I'm not going to steal Joe's thunder. I think you're going to talk about Iroquois, so I'm not going to talk about that. Or do you want me to say something real quickly? Is that
Go right ahead if you'd like, Mayor.
Yeah, I mean we're finally to the point where we're going to be tearing down that house. We're going to be putting in the retention basin, and thereafter we're going to be putting the walk around the retention basin, and we're going to create like a little park atmosphere. We're going to light it, probably put some sort of little fountain in there, and this will be an extension of Sugar Bush Park. It'll be something that where residents, if they wanted to come and walk their dog or walk around this little retention basin, sit down, we're going to kind of, not kind of, but we are going to landscape it and make it look pretty. So it'll be a nice added area once we get this building down, and it'll be nice for the community. So with that, I have nothing more to report on mayor's reports. I'll go to committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Yeah, I have a committee report for the Parks and Recs Committee. I'm not sure where to start. We just had a gentleman come in, basically berate our Parks and Recs director. Well, I'm first to tell you that that gentleman knew all the parameters he was supposed to have for his event at a meeting that I was at the end of May. So for him to come and say there's no communication, communication is a two-way street, and we had to give him an ultimatum, like, get these things in, or your event's not going to be able to be held because it's a safety issue for everybody. For him to come up here and accuse and make accusations that he didn't know that he was supposed to have these things in place, they're basic things: security, parking, trash pickup, a site plan. Where are these things going? Where are you going to park people? We had discussion after discussion with them, and I am going to defend you, Angela. And I mean, I saw the notes, I saw the emails, and for him to come up here and say none of that thing, that he felt like the city is not supporting him, I have to remind him that it's not a city event. This was his event that the city is graciously allowing him to use Longwood Park to do. We gave him all the options. We gave him phone numbers. We gave him people to contact for sponsorship. There was only one person to blame if this does not work, and that's Don Davis. And I hate to say it because I'm hoping that the thing goes off without a hitch. But the city has to protect itself, and and right now, I'm gonna look through what he has provided tonight, and unfortunately, if it's not within what the legal asks of him, we're not gonna let him have his event at Longwood Park. And that's gonna break his heart, and it's gonna break a lot of people's heart that are looking forward to this event. But, you know, what did Mark say? It's a safety first issue. And if something goes wrong, the city has to make sure that its residents are safe. And right now, we did not feel comfortable last week at our Parks and Recs meeting that he had the understanding that, you know, this needed to be put in place before this event was going to go off. So I hope that he has everything that we asked for. And, you know, we did give him a letter. We have told him for months, get these things in place. So there's only one person if it doesn't go off. The second thing that we talked about was the expansion of the locker rooms. And I know that we passed legislation tonight to pay for it. I'm still looking forward to it. For someone who has 2 daughters and has to use the family locker room, it's like using a closet. And so for this to be done, finally, I can't wait till it's finished. It's going to, you know, make the swimming pool area so much better, so much useful. So I think we're getting that done, and I think that's about it that we talked at the committee meeting. So if there's any questions that you guys have about this Wizard of Oz, and if it does get canceled, please direct it to me, because I'm the one that put the date down. And it's a matter of, you know, it's a matter of getting things in, you know, accomplished and put behind them, and it never got done. And so we did not feel comfortable letting them move forward if they're not done. You know, am I right in saying that, Mark?
That's simple, yeah. It's all about health and safety.
So thank you, Mayor, that's all I have.
Okay, any other committee reports? Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on to department reports. John?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the compliments regarding Memorial Park. You know, we were kind of looking over today, and we were excited when we did the gazebo last year. And what we've accomplished now with the way the layout came out, I mean, it's really something to see. Not only with Rodney doing the masonry, he did a fantastic job there. So I mentioned a few other individuals in our department. Brian Schumann ran all of the electrical work over there. Okay. Jason Check did the irrigation system that's placed in there. Jason McRitchie did the excavation that's in there. And we had countless other guys coming in and out. We pulled our mechanic out today, John Ventura, to come and help us out with the grading, because we wanted to make sure this is all prepped and ready to go for Saturday's event. So everyone did a fantastic job. They stood up to the plate, got it done, and we're very happy with the results and hope everyone else enjoys it as they drive by. Fall's coming soon. I hate to say it, the chill's in the air. This is the time now. Check your mailboxes, make sure they're secure before the snow falls. And then also leaf collection, we're still planning on looking at end of October, 3rd week, for collection to start, depending on the way the leaves fall this year. And that's all I have.
All right, thanks, John. Joe?
Thank you, Mayor. With the passage of the ordinance for the Sioux Lane culvert, that's good news. Tomorrow morning I'll move forward with having our contractor sign the contracts and provide him with his notice to proceed so we can move forward as soon as possible with that project. The only other item to touch on is the road program. As most of you, I'm sure, are aware, the recycling process is complete. The middle layer of asphalt has been installed on all 7 roads that we're working on, and we expect the top coat of asphalt to go down on the week of the 25th. Once that is complete, our contractor will roll into the maintenance items. That's the crack sealing, catch basin repairs, spot repairs on various streets throughout the city. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Joe.
I do have a question, Joe. I was over, some residents had sent me pictures of problems in the, I gather what you're saying is the second coat. And I can show you some of those pictures, but it appeared that there was some fairly rough amount of material even sticking out of the asphalt. And I don't know if that was expected in that second layer. You know, like basically wires and various other things were sticking out.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything, nor has our inspector
you.
seen anything like that. If you have a picture.
We'll talk about it, but I just wanted to be clear. What you're talking about is, what you're talking about from your standpoint is there's going to be another layer put on top of this one.
Right, we've talked about that at every meeting.
Okay. All right, thanks, Joe. Angela?
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Kevin, for your comments. Not to beat a dead horse, but I was taken aback by some of the comments and accusations that were made this evening, seeing that I have met with this gentleman probably no less than at least once per month, sometimes more, dating back 5 and 6 months. The same items were asked of him every month, every meeting, every time. These meetings went on for 2 to 3 hours minimum each time we met. So I have invested a lot of time with helping this gentleman with his event. From the beginning, it was made very clear this was not a city event, but I would be here to provide guidance, which I feel I did go above and beyond with providing contact names and suggestions with emails and phone numbers and companies. So I can't physically make somebody do something, and at this point in time, it's just too close to the event to not initiate a deadline for him to get these items turned into us. So I hope with the information he submitted tonight, I don't know if there's a copy available for me, but if there's not, I would request that I get a copy at some point. I would appreciate being able to look over that. With that being said, the only other big item that I have to remind everybody of is our annual pool maintenance closing. That is going to take place beginning on Monday, September 18th. This year, the pool area will be closed for a full 2 weeks. And that is because we are resurfacing our lap pool this year. It's never been resurfaced since the original construction. So they will be basically jackhammering out all of the Diamond Bright seal on the lap pool and diving well, which that is our largest pool that we have. That takes about 10 days to complete. So once they are finished, we need time to refill the pool and then heat it back up to a temperature that people can then utilize the pool after that. So it is a full 14-day project. We're taking advantage of that time, so we're having all of our pool pumps and motors all being picked up on Tuesday to be taken out for servicing. These are items that we cannot physically transport ourselves. They come in with trucks and cranes and crews of people. They're very, very large and heavy, so they usually take more than a week to service, and a lot of times we don't have a week to spare during the year when we can have these items give attention to them. So we are planning to do all of that while the pool is closed. So it will reopen on Monday, October 2nd. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Rhonda?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll give you a quick update for Rita's numbers. For September, we collected $624,468. That's up $26,745 from last year. We are up for the year $337,400 so far. The makeup of that is withholding is up $247,977. Individual taxes are up $117,263, and the net profits is down $27,841. That's actually gotten better because at one point we were down $116,000 in net profits. So,
Brad, I have a question for you on those. Because of the increase to 2.25, is that a good number to be up, or would you personally be expecting to be up more at this point because of the increase?
they said the increase is actually going to just trickle in, so
Okay,
I'm not
so-
expecting it to be
So
up.
being up $337,000 is,
Well, don't forget,
No, she's not talking about that.
we've only received 2 months' worth of that increase.
true, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So being up is not being up because of it.
No, not
It's being
really.
up because we're collecting.
Right.
Perfect.
Correct.
For the year, Rhonda, could I ask you, what is we're down on net profits for the year still, right?
Yes, 27,000.
Okay, so, and do we have an explanation for that? Because I had asked that before.
Right, I keep looking at it, and, some months have gone up, some months are going down, it's just.
You do not
companies-
have one
right.
at this point, okay.
Right. Rita sent us an email, or sent me an email. There are 1,728 non-filers. So a subpoena letter will be going out to those non-filers. And we'll be having a subpoena program again this November. The other thing I wanted to let you know too is
How about
if.
how about the water? The water bill?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'm on Rita. So if the state of Ohio takes over our net profit collections for just that portion of it, and these numbers are based on 2016 collections, the state wants to impose a 5% fee, which would cost us about $59,535. Our RETA collections and the fees for RETA collecting those net profits was $19,647,000. We would lose an additional $40,000 by the state collecting those taxes for us. So
You know what that tells you, don't you?
Yes.
That our governor and our state legislature has been in your pockets. They just went into your pockets and you didn't even realize it.
In
They
addition
just
to-
dug down
right.
because what we don't collect over there, we have to come back to our residents and say, hey, we're out of money.
And in addition to that
Because they're making
potential-
their budget look good.
Right, in addition to that potential 40,000 that we might lose, if they, that's only if the companies request the state to do the collections and they want to file with the state. When House Bill 49 passed, it eliminated the throwback rule for tax returns. And starting in 2018, we're also going to lose an additional $123,000 of revenue just for the throwback rule. For the water M&E, Kevin, I submitted all the unpaid invoices to Summit County. We had 868 unpaid invoices. So that was a combination of individuals, mostly individuals, but there are a few companies that are in there as well. That's down from last year's number of 910 invoices being submitted to the county. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yep.
Tim?
As the trustees from Sagamore said, tomorrow is our one-year anniversary of our fire consolidation with Sagamore Hills and Northfield Center. It has been quite a ride opening two stations. We had one closed and one then had to reopen that station. So thus far, counting the call we're on right now, we had 3,541 calls. So we had a record year in Macedonia for the September of last year to September of this year, 15th. We had a record year in Macedonia, and I don't have a lot of records for what the other communities did, but that's an average of about 10 calls a day that we're operating out of the three stations. So calls are definitely coming in, and we're definitely handling them. So I'll have a full report after tomorrow.
Great.
That's all I had.
Thank you. John?
No report, Mayor.
Okay. John, do you have anything you'd like to? Okay.
I did get your message, Diane's this morning, so I'm aware of that. I just want to say that.
Oh, that mic's good.
There's one right there.
It's good.
That's fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Just get on the chair. No.
Yeah, I just want to say a couple of things. One thing about this Wizard of Oz, we've never had any problem, Longwood Manor Associates never had any problem with Angela communicating with us by email. Whether you're copied or not, she's always responded right away. So I just want to support that. I think Don Davis he's really worked up over this issue, apparently. The way we left it when I met with John Davis and Angela last Wednesday, they both came over to the Longwood Manor and looked around, and we talked about some activities that Wizard of Oz could have inside the house. Now, the caveat is, are we going to be approved, to have the public on the first floor of the house over that weekend at designated times, considering we'll have somebody in each room. Okay, we know the emergency lighting works. So we can't really make any commitments back to Don Davis. I was going to get back to him and talk about that while we're waiting.
John, I think that from the last meeting that we had and all of the things that were accomplished and completed, that is the exit lightings with the and the security that's in place with the fire detection that we have, that the building is occupiable at this point in time. I'll double check with having Donnie Bell run up there to make a double check on it, make sure everything's in good shape. But I think it's.
Fire extinguishers in?
Do we have fire extinguishers?
No.
There's none in there?
I don't see any as of yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we'll get them in there.
Well, if there's none, then that's why I was gonna send Donnie up there to just make sure that everything is up to snuff.
We got the stairways blocked off now, that's all set. We're gonna have a Longwood Manor meeting Tuesday, so hopefully by then, you know, we'll know if the Wizard of Oz is on, so I can get our volunteers mobilized. We have very little time now.
Okay.
To plan anything, we'll do what we can, but we're looking forward to it. So, oh, there's one issue, I don't know if Angel, we talked about the restrooms. Those are the public the city restrooms. So the city, we take it, is gonna be responsible for stocking them, you know, paper and cleaning them. And also, we're only gonna be there limited number of hours Saturday and Sunday, so we're gonna keep the door locked between the public restrooms and the house. We just lock that door, is all we can do, but we're not.
Well, I was not anticipating, was anyone else, that we would open up those bathrooms for this event?
Maybe I was anticipating that, I don't know.
No, I when I met with John, he had indicated somehow you thought that the mayor had mentioned to you that the restrooms were going to be able to be open. And I said I had
for
not.
that event,
I said I had not heard that.
I mean,
so.
given the fact that we have the concession building with the 2 restrooms there and the other restroom facility, and I believed that they were to bring in some additional, depending on their load, they were supposed to bring in some additional. I never anticipated, John, that they would ever use that.
That's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine. We got the hallway painted, we got the ceiling tiles in 90%, so.
Oh, good.
We'll handle that, but the restrooms are the city's responsibility.
The manor house is not shown.
Layout.
Yeah. Well,
But the manor house is not shown.
Yeah.
It starts,
I don't, if you guys were gonna operate the manor house during this event, John, as I talked about, then certainly it would then be open.
and the manor house has a certificate of occupancy, because that was one of the things that we had talked in length of, certain emergency and fire prevention measures that had to be in place before we'd ever consider opening it.
Well, that's that's something for Donnie. I've been there, I've been through the house a couple times, but it's something for Donnie to go up there and just make sure that we've got.
Yeah, there was a whole laundry list of
Yeah.
things that had to be cared for before we could ever open the doors
And
to the general public.
Yeah, most of
And
those
we
have been
talked
taken
about
care of.
safety.
Yeah.
We
That's-
gotta make sure that's also there.
One thing, the mayor has said that the house is still residential. It's not, you know, as far as the requirements for the house, we're going under those requirements.
I defer to the lawyer because
We'll just take a look and make sure all pertinent requirements are complied with, I guess is the best way to say it at this point in time.
Tim will have Donnie get up there tomorrow, take a look at it. Okay, thank you, John. Mark, do you have anything?
I don't, Mayor.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
One quick thing before we go, pest control, we do have something in place. The mayor's working on looking into what we're gonna do with that going forward, because it comes at a high cost. I know I've had a lot of calls about raccoons and skunks, but we are working on it. We will get back with everybody as soon as we have something.
Yeah. And just to reiterate a little bit more on that is, or I should elaborate more on it, not reiterate, but just say that, you know, the past practice of the city has, you know, if there were rodents or something in someone's house, then the city was responding and providing some assistance by either having the Summit County come out or having Miller's group come out of Oakwood to provide that service. We had only set aside, obviously, for a fee for the Summit County, and it was a nominal fee. I think we got a total of $5,000 in that fund altogether. And every call that would come in, and we've had over 25 or 30 calls on rodents like skunks and what have you, that are not inside of the house but are on the outside of the house, would cost us a fee of about $175 per home.
That's crazy.
So it would cost us a lot of money then to start dispatching for that. Now, what I think we ought to be doing is perhaps offering a discounted rate to residents based on the fact that we have a contractual agreement with both Summit County and Miller. So whichever one will give us a flat rate, then we can pass that flat rate on to the resident, who can then pay for that. That's how I think it should be accomplished. Otherwise, it's going to be a line item which council's going to have to reappropriate and approve to increase.
It is different though if it's rabid or distemper. I mean, obviously that's something that we're gonna call the police, and I know what's gonna end up happening, but.
I wonder whether that makes sense.
As someone who's been surrounded by skunks all summer, next door and up the street and down the street. So we haven't made one phone call because it hasn't gotten into the house. Can I have two quick things? One, I'd like to thank the service department for all their work on the Manor House. There's been a lot of work done internally. And also on behalf of a family of ours, a friend of mine who lives on Sherwood, I'd like to thank the police and the dispatcher for arranging that they could have overnight street parking during their hospice time at the home, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I just want to reiterate about this Wizard of Oz festival that's taking place next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Longwood Park. I kind of breezed through here. I just want to ask Chief Golden, as he was shaking his head, yes, we have security, you were shaking your head no. So I don't see anything in this pamphlet other than an email to Officer Danko.
No, it's the same thing Angela had. Officer Danko reached out to him by email, by phone, no return calls. He got in a panic when he was told it's put up or shut up, and then he returned a call to Sergeant Danko. So no, we do not have security yet.
Okay, but do you believe that it's something that can be done within, if he calls tomorrow?
It can be worked out.
Okay.
I'm curious if he's going to be able to afford to pay these guys.
Well, that's one of the issues.
Because he was talking about overnight security. He doesn't need it. You have to understand, he's all over the board, and you can't follow this guy. So I'm not even sure what he wants. I just texted Sergeant Danko, and he said he still needs to clarify if he wants overnight security or if he doesn't, because he indicated he might, but then another email he said he didn't.
Right, okay.
So
a lot of details to be worked out still, it sounds like.
So, I mean, it's...
I just have one comment here, and I did go look at Memorial Park, and I do congratulate you, John. And it's a beautiful job. It really looks beautiful over there. And just to say, this is the week of 9/11, and I happen to be, unfortunately, in D.C., so close to the Pentagon when the explosion happened, when that plane went in. I was right hearing it. And I had staff to get moved out of the area. And when I think of the people that I knew and were friends and who had spouses that were killed, it's still kind of a moment that I think about every year and with great intensity. So appreciate what you're doing, and good luck.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Thank you all for being here. Drive carefully.